All right. So let's get into this sciencemag.com.org. All right. I guess it's my turn to read now. Bad dog, think twice before yelling, experts say.
Don't yell.
That was the first thing on here. Now I
feel like me.
Mm-hmm.
Coughing up.
All right. Few things are more adorable or destructive than a new puppy. When they pee on rugs, chew furniture, or get aggressive with other pups, their stressed out owners usually turn to dog training. Now, a novel study suggests programs that use even relatively mild punishments like yelling or leash jerking can stress dogs out, making them more pessimistic than dogs that experience reward-based training. Punishment training may seem to work in the short run, but these methods can have future negative consequences, says Mark Bickoff, an evolutionary biologist at the University of Colorado in Boulder, who was not involved in the new study. Why, if he wasn't involved in the study, why is he talking about it? Well, these dogs are living in perpetual stress. Previous studies have suggested that although both reward-based and punishment-based training methods are effective, punishment-based training can have negative effects. But those studies tend to focus on police and laboratory dogs instead of family pets. Most use shock collars, which have been banned in several countries as punishment. To find out how companion dogs react to more routine punishments, scientists led by Ana Catarina Vieira de Castro at the University of Porto in Portugal recruited 42 dogs from reward-based training schools, which used food or play to encourage good behaviors. The team also enlisted 50 dogs from adverse-based programs, which used negative reinforcement like yelling or leash jerking to train dogs, or even pressuring their rumps to get them to set.
So pushing down on their butt.
Yeah.
Pressuring it. We're pressuring
We're
it.
pressuring it, yeah. What we said before, those flavor words, right?
Yeah.
The researchers videotaped the dogs during training and tested their saliva before and after the stress hormone for the stress hormone cortisol. Dogs in the negative reinforcement program showed more stress-related behaviors during training, such as lip licking and yawning, and they had higher levels of cortisol in their saliva than when at home. The team reported on the preprint server Dogs in the reward-based training group showed no changes in cortisol levels during training or at home. To find out whether these effects lingered, the researchers measured how 79 of the dogs responded to a potential food reward. First, they trained the dogs to associate one side of a room with a delicious sausage. If a dog found a bowl in that part of the room, it would contain sausage, but bowls on the other side of the room would be empty. Then, the researchers placed an empty bowl at various positions between the two extremes and measured how quickly the dogs approached it. An optimistic dog would run excitedly to a bowl in the middle, whereas the pessimistic dog would move more slowly. Such pessimistic mindsets have been associated with separation anxiety and other problem behaviors in dogs. In the test, the more punishment a dog had received, the more pessimistic it was, and the more pronounced the results. This was a careful study, Beckhoff said, and although the paper does not address which method was more effective at training dogs.
You gonna sneeze?
Yeah, I got one. It went away. No, it didn't.
Bless you.
Sorry, guys. All right, let's see. Bickoff says this and other findings provide more than enough evidence that dog owners should avoid adverse-based training. That's often easier said than done because many dog training schools don't advertise their methods, and such training is not regulated, at least in the United States. Says Zazie Todd, a dog trainer and animal psychology blogger. She adds that dog owners should look explicitly for keywords like reward-based and avoid schools that use language like balance training. Bickoff agrees and says owners should take the time to talk to their trainer and other owners who have worked with them. Reward-based training may take time, but so what? at least the dog isn't living in fear of constant stress.
There's a lot of funny
Yeah.
things in there
Yeah.
that I was kind of writing down here.
Yeah, I like read that last night. I was like, this
It's a good one.
This is a good one for him. To
I also have a follow-up article I'll read after we talk about this stuff.
perfect.
Okay, so let's just go through the notes that I was taking here. So very first thing, obviously stressed and pessimistic dogs.
Yeah.
Right. So first off, we live in a world right now with dogs and people where any sort of stress is immediately seen as bad.
Yep.
Right. The common question I ask everybody: when you're learning something new, is there stress involved?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
When you learned how to take photos or take videos, you're probably pretty stressed out sometimes.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
All the time.
Because you were challenging yourself, right? Anytime you challenge yourself and you push those boundaries for yourself, things are hard, right?
Yeah.
It's not easy, right?
No.
Now, does that mean that's inherently bad? No.
Oh.
Right? Stress, I think, is good. I think stress is the first sign of growth,
Yeah.
right? Next thing, pessimistic dogs. Okay, first off, humanizing, right? We're getting
Yep.
into human emotions that dogs are not comprehending.
Oh, yeah.
They're not pessimistic, right? They are potentially stressed and potentially trying to figure out what to do, right?
Yeah.
But they're not being pessimistic,
Yeah.
right? Next thing, perpetual stress, right? Another keyword that we had there, right? Perpetual stress, and another keyword they used was routine punishment, which basically implies to me the use of constant punishment, where we're
Yeah.
constantly punishing for things. Both of those things, immediately in my head, I start thinking improper use of those things. Because here's the
Yeah.
thing. The use of punishment should be temporary and effective, right? It should not be routine. It should happen where it needs to happen, and it should address and solve that problem. Jumping. I should punish for jumping X number of times and have the jumping completely stop, right? I should punish for not coming in the yard X number of times and have the not coming in the yard completely stop. So yes, throughout the learning period, throughout the training period, you will have stress, but there should not be perpetual stress on the dog's life, right?
Yeah.
And this gets into, again, the proper use of these things versus the improper use of these things, right? Talking about punishment side effects, right? And the effectiveness of punishment, that goes back into both of those things. If it's used properly, it should be effective with
Yeah.
things, right? Next, in these tests they were testing for stress, not for results, which
Yeah.
is funny because then right after
Yeah.
they even said it doesn't address which is more effective. Yet somehow they even said it proves that punishment-based training should not be used,
Yeah.
even though it doesn't address which is more effective,
Yeah.
right?
Exactly.
And then I want to get into the idea they were using of this like test they did with the room with the sausages and the bowls.
Yeah.
Right? So the optimistic dog runs excitedly towards the sausage. The pessimistic dog goes slowly towards it.
Yeah.
Well, let me ask you this. Do you want your dog to, while you're out on the walk, when you're not giving direction, run excitedly at all of the squirrels and cars and skateboards and bicycles and food on the ground and chicken bone that they could choke on and die and the person that's allergic to dogs and jump all over them? Do you want your dog to have this completely uncontrollable, situated adrenaline towards all of those things?
Yeah.
Or would you prefer the quote unquote pessimistic dog? Or
Yeah.
I put down here in parentheses the dog with impulse control that says, I know that that's over there, but I'm not sure if I'm allowed to have it.
Yeah.
Right? Practicing impulse control and looking for guidance as far as what's okay to have and what's not okay to have. So what we would call as a permission-based training system.
Yeah. And my big thing is they don't even talk about trying to recall the dog from the sausage.
No, they don't talk about anything because this is not a test of the training. This is a test of stress.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
It's again, stress is a way of life. Stress is a part of life.
Yeah.
It happens. It's necessary. Intermittent stress. There were studies out there I remember seeing that intermittent stress is good for immune system, right? It helps you become more strong and a more capable human being, right?
Yeah.
So I don't know. I all of these types of studies. It's funny because from somebody that's doing good balanced training and advocating of these tools, like instead of doing a study where we test for minute, like unnecessary details like this, we would just show, here's this dog, here's this dog.
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
You pick.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I mean, we all know that the balanced training approach works significantly better, right? And it's funny because I just sent this article to somebody today. So we'll read an article that I wrote probably 4 years ago or so. You ready?
Perfect.
This one is called Why Positive Reinforcement Alone Will Not Stop Your Dog's Behavioral Issues. So it's called Positive Reinforcement versus Balanced Training Methods.
What are the odds that I picked this one?
One of the biggest... when did I write? I don't remember when I wrote this. I wrote this a while ago. So I haven't seen it in a while, so I don't even remember what it says, frankly.
All right.
One of the biggest questions I receive all the time is why would I use prong collars, e-collars, or anything else when I could just use positive reinforcement with my dog? Before we answer the question, we have to establish a few things first here. First, using a prong collar or an e-collar on your dog does not mean that you cannot use a clicker and food or any other form of positive reinforcement training that you would like. Actually, most of the top trainers in the world that use these tools are some of the most skilled trainers in teaching behaviors with positive reinforcement. We refer to these types of trainers as balanced trainers, the ones to avoid.
Ooh.
This means utilizing all 4 quadrants of learning: positive reinforcement, negative reinforcement, positive punishment, and negative punishment. This is the type of trainer that I categorize myself and my trainers as. So why do we utilize these methods? Why not just use treats to solve all of our dog's issues and teach them to be the best they can be? Wouldn't that be fantastic? Of course it would. Most people that are against positive reinforcement don't understand that that's what everybody would like to do. Training our dogs with food is fun, it's engaging, and it builds a fantastic relationship with your dog. If it truly worked alone in creating the results that we all want with our dog, they would have the entire dog training industry monopolized. But here's the catch: it doesn't. It's important to realize a couple of things about positive reinforcement. First and foremost is the leading cause of behavioral issues in dogs. Most behaviors that your dogs do are incredibly self-reinforcing. Your dog jumps on the counter to grab a steak. Positive reinforcement caused that. Your dog barks at the neighbor's dog. Positive reinforcement caused that. Your dog chases deer out on a hike. Positive reinforcement caused that. All of these behaviors are reinforced by the outcome of what happens when they do them. And unfortunately, a lot of these are so heavily reinforced that no matter how many treats you put in your dog's face, they are going to want that reinforcer more than that food. So here's the cool part. This is a good art. I forgot how good this one was. Learning theory is a beautiful thing. That means learning through consequences, both good and bad. It's how humans learn and how dogs learn. It is a universal language, and it doesn't always have to be harsh and cruel. Modern-day remote collar training or prong collar training is intended to be incredibly conflict-free. And when you pair these methods with all the great things that positive reinforcement offers, you get yourself a really capable means of training your dog. These tools and methods will give you the freedom to not only train your dog, but to enjoy your dog to the fullest by actually stopping the behavioral issues that are limiting your dog's ability to be a dog and teaching them a new way of life, by giving them the ability to be fully integrated into your life. So please, keep an open mind about all of this. Do your research when looking for a trainer. You can accomplish more than you think with the right methods.
It's like a perfect counter to that whole article, honestly.
Well, again, I mean, the fact of the matter is, the key part is every behavioral issue that comes in virtually was created through positive reinforcement, right? Positive reinforcement is as powerful as everybody says it is. Right? And that's why you can't use it by itself.
Yeah.
Right?
That's true.
Because everything that your dog wants to do, if they are more motivated by it, you have no means of being able to address it. The only way to stop some of these ingrained habits that dogs have is to punish some of those things away.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. You know, we could read articles like this all day long talking about why everybody hates positive reinforcement. But in the end of the day, every single one of them always ends with, well, our method takes a little bit longer to use, you know, and I know it's not as easy, and I know that you guys don't like doing it as much because it's not going to show you the results that you quite want, but in the end of the day, it's better still.
Yeah.
Right? Meanwhile, I'm taking my dogs off leash wherever I want to take them. I'm able to integrate them fully into my life, which creates a more balanced and fulfilled dog, while you have to leave your dogs at home because you can't do any of those things.
Yeah.